Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles and cousins, of course, and nanas and papas, or abuelas and abuelos, and baseball fans everywhere. Welcome to day 28 of the Valley Baseball League's Rewind season. Hello, everyone. My name is Graham Knight, and on behalf of the league and the teams in this league, I want to welcome you to this edition of the Valley Baseball League's Rewind season. So happy to have you here. So much to attend to. Hey, listen, as we are recording this, Major League Baseball is slowly making its way back to the mound. They've announced a season of 50 games. However, there have been a few COVID cases in various teams, so they're navigating that. The spring training camps kind of started and then shut down, but slowly people are making it back to the mound. And as promised, I did not get my haircut until there was baseball being played. So I kept my word. Anyway, I also want to give a shout out to the Front Royal Cardinals. I'm still sporting the Front Royal Red. I am doing that for every team in the league, not just the Front Royal Cardinals. Look, all of these teams all year long, it takes a whole year effort to make this season happen, and they incur expenses all year long. So I want to encourage you to reach out to your favorite team, hit their website, and if you want to support them, buy their merchandise, and if you want to be even more generous, make a contribution. They could definitely use your help. The Front Royal Cardinals in particular have some great stuff. We're going to be wearing their swag here pretty soon. Happy to put that on display as soon as it arrives. Been watching my mailbox. I know it's coming. It just is not here yet. So sorry about that. Also want to say, as we're recording this, COVID spiking in California and Texas and Florida. So much of life is out of our control. We can't really control what happens, but we can control how we respond to it. And today we're going to respond by celebrating. We're going to celebrate the players who came to this league and played here last year. We're going to celebrate players like Aidan, Nagle, and Trey McDyer. Anyway, before I do that, I got to bring in the crew. I got the crew here. Everybody say hi to Jordan.
Fans, how we doing on this spectacular evening?
Great question. Everybody say hi to Aaron.
Hi, fans. Since Jordan always wears his school or his dad's school, I had to bring my school into the mix as well today.
Very nice, very nice. Tell us a little bit about your school, though. You can't display this shirt without telling us about your time there, maybe some of the highlights, trophies that they earned, anything like that.
Going to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill was quite an experience. It was a lot of fun for a sports fan. Of course, there's always good basketball. Won a national championship while I was there, which was a lot of fun. And we've been competitive in football. Things are looking up there, especially with Mac Brown now at the helm. And baseball has always been good at Carolina. So I've always enjoyed going out to the ball field there as well. I still go. Obviously couldn't go this past season, but looking forward to it again next year.
Yeah, be going back as soon as you can get back there, I bet. Well, awesome. Always happy to give a shout out to anybody or any school or any person we want to celebrate. So great to have you guys here. Some great baseball took place in the Valley last year at this time. Jordan, why don't you catch them up on the game of the night, and we'll celebrate the players from that, and then we'll talk about the other games and the other players who stood out back on. Day 28, by the way, was played on June 29th, 2019. Jordan, take it away.
Yeah, Graham. Well, tonight we got a really good one between the Woodstock River Bandits, kind of that up-and-coming team really trying to come back from their 2018 season, and they take on the defending champion Newmarket Rebels in this game. Now, for us, it's the 2020 Rewind season, but I might want to coin a term here for the Woodstock River Bandits. Maybe for them, this is their 2020 redemption season. If you look at everything that happened in 2018, and Graham, you would know because you've been a part of the Woodstock River Bandits franchise, and we were talking about them before the season even started. Like 2018, they were the Baltimore Orioles of the league, and sorry, O's fans, but it's just the truth. But coming into this game tonight, when you really look at everything as a team that Woodstock has overcome, they're 11-11 at the end of the season. They're back at 500. That's already more than two times the amount of wins they had back in 18. And I got to be honest, tonight's hitter of the day, Mr. Pedro Castellano, of course, credit to John Leonard again for always finding the best bat of the night. Pedro has a fantastic game. I don't want to spoil any of his stats for the fans tonight, but definitely the name to look out for. He's on the Newmarket side of the field, But as far as a team aspect and overcoming so much in the odds and just a season that got away from them only a year ago, it's incredible to see what Woodstock has really accomplished with 9 men on the field at once.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too is they've played 22 games by this point, and you've got Aidan Nagle hitting .414. So things have settled down enough to where the batting averages are really starting to kind of show what these players are really capable of. 3 hits each by Aidan and Nick Holesa. I hope I said his name right. Anyway, Aaron, what stands out to you?
Yeah, I think that's been really interesting to watch how Woodstock's come through this season. There have been a lot of really good performances from different players on the team. And speaking of the hitter of the day with Pedro Castellano, he's somebody that came from Central Florida, came up here, is playing. He is doing really well for them. He's had over 50 at-bats already for the Rebels, and he's hitting .220. So he had a good night, a really good night, better than his usual spread is. And they've just had a lot of help from a lot of other players. Aidan Nagle, as you mentioned, is somebody that's been very constant for them in his performance.
Yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out. This is the first time really since we've been doing our rewind season that we said Pedro's name. Yeah, hitting .220, but also has got an on-base percentage of .322. Really starting to stand out. For all of you Yankee fans, our man Aaron Polinsky was 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a double on this day back in 2019, really starting to stand out. What's funny is having seen a couple of these players now come in and play in Winchester. I haven't seen them come into the other teams yet, but having watched Aaron and also Cody Wilson come in, it's kind of funny. You can see that major league. I want to call it swag because I don't know what else to call it. It's more of a determination, but it's nice to see the Aidans of the worlds, the Aarons of the worlds, the Pedros of the worlds really get a chance to show what they are made of and really stand out. Aaron, a couple other games played on this night back in 2019. What else happened?
Yeah, the Charlottesville Tom Sox had a pretty big night. They were playing Harrisonburg, and they were down 5-1 in the 4th inning. But by the end of the 4th, they had scored 4 unearned runs. So at that point, everything was tied up. And Trey McDyer, he had a sac fly in the 5th that drove in Kirby McMullen, and that ended up becoming the winning run. So Charlottesville ended up winning 6-5. Now McMullen, he had a really good day. He went 1 of 4, but he had a double and scored 2 runs. McMullen's, he's a utility player, one of those guys that Graham really likes, and he's playing out of Florida. So he's a Florida Gator, and he's been hitting .405 for the Tom Sox, which is really good at this point in the season.
Yeah, really good. I love those utility players. They're so incredibly talented. And I don't know, there's something about somebody who can both pitch and hit. I just really find that to be a major standout. John Leonard really started me on this when he did his all-decade team, and we had a chance to go back and interview the utility players from the, 2011 to 2020 all-decade team. Really something, if you haven't had a chance to catch those podcasts, please go back in our YouTube feed and find them. They're really pretty interesting. We talked to Rick Spires, and we also talked to, Aaron, remind me who we also talked to because the name's escaping me.
We talked to Sam Crawford from Georgia Tech. He was a great person to talk to. He's a pitcher, and actually the pitcher of the day today came from the Strasburg Front Royal game from the Strasburg side. So they won 10-2 over Front Royal, and they're now 10 games over 500. So at this point, they're 15-5 on the season. And Dunn, he goes to VCU. He went 6 innings on the mound. He allowed 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and struck out 5 batters to earn the win. That was his first win. He's 1-0 on the season, and he's had 11 strikeouts in 10 2/3 inning pitch. So we talked about the bats. Nick Tony, he hit his 3rd home run in that game. He had a solo shot in the 4th inning, but it was pitcher Devin Dunn that kind of stole the show, earning pitcher of the night honors.
Yeah, what to me stands out is you've got the South Division. You've got teams like Waynesboro close to, by the time we get to day 29 and day 30, the Waynesboro Generals are going to be close to something like 16-8. on the season, while you've got Woodstock coming back and tying it up at 500. The Harrisonburg Turks are at 500. The Tom Stocks, I'm digging for their stats. I don't have it in front of me right this second, or sorry, their record. They're up there, but you talk about 10 games over 500. I mean, it's amazing what these teams did coming out of the gate. You've got teams like Purcellville Cannons are working to chase them. Jordan, catch us up. What else happened on this day back in 2019?
Yeah, Graham, and you know what? You set me up perfectly because you just mentioned the Purcellville Cannons, and that's who I've got, and they're taking on your Winchester Royals. 9-10 was the final score. Very close in this one, with Purcellville coming up on top. And again, with that kind of emphasis on these underdog teams that are really rebuilding themselves, Purcellville is definitely in that category too, because they did start off the season 1-7. Right now, though, this is their 5th game in a row that they're going to come off winning. The Cannons are roaring. It's fantastic to really see them come together. And I want to give a shout out to, he didn't earn Player of the Day honors, as Aaron's already pointed out, but Vincent Adams, he came in, he gave the Cannons much needed, 2 very much needed shutout relief innings at the mound at the end of this ball game. When you're in a competition and you're only 1 run ahead, or you're competing to maybe get that tie game to keep it that way for your offense to come on up and put those bats in check, it is, again, a highly pressured situation that Adams delivered on right here. And the Cannons, whether they're at home or whether they're on the road in Winchester like they were tonight, they are really turning their season around. It's been an incredible story seeing them start off kind of on the low end, but they're really coming into their own right here. And we may know what's coming up, seeing how this is the 2020 Rewind season for Purcellville, but the fans got to stay in their seats, because it only gets better here for the Cannons. But they do take this one tonight, 10-9 over Winchester.
Yeah, well, I hate to celebrate the Cannons over the Royals, but at the same time, I love celebrating the Cannons over the Royals, so I'm very happy about that. You know, one of the greatest comedic lines I've ever heard from a comic was, he walks out on stage and he gets up to the mic and he looks out at the crowd and he says, "You ever have one of those days where you just don't feel like doing anything?" And he just looked at the crowd, and it took him for a second to realize that, that was the kind of day he was having, and there weren't going to be too many good jokes that were going to follow. When you think about this Purcellville-Winchester game, the Cannons scored 7 runs in the first inning, which you think about, you're coming out, you're ready to play a good game, and all of a sudden, right out of the box, you're 7 runs down. I mean, that hurts. Aaron, any thoughts on the game Jordan just recapped?
No, I mean, it's been fun to follow like all of these teams, because you go into the season with expectations of how somebody's going to do based on last year, and you don't even think about the fact that there's all new players, new management, everything like that goes into it. And then the fact that all these new players have to figure out how to gel together so quickly at the start of the season. So at this point in the season, we really are starting to see these teams' true colors, and it's been fun to see, teams kind of rise above what expectations were.
All right. Well, then let's give a big shout out to the players we're celebrating tonight in our Day 28 Rewind season. We're celebrating Vincent Adams, who went in relief to hang in for the win for the Cannons over the Royals. We're going to give a big shout out to Nick Tony, hit his 3rd home run in a row. Want to give a big shout out to Trey McDyer. I can't know why. Oh, that's right. He's got an RBI. Kirby McMullen. We got to give a big shout out to Aaron Nagle. We're going to be giving lots of big shout outs to Aaron Nagle. He had a great season, as well as Nick Holesa. And we want to shout out Connor Norby. How do you say that? Shout out to Connor Norby and Wes Clark. Anyway, those are our players of the day. I know John only names one, but we're going to start naming them all, because that's how we roll. Right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's wrap this up by wishing you all perfect health and wishing you all a speedy return to the baseball diamond. Until tomorrow night, I'm Graham Knight for Aaron and Jordan. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on our next 2020 Rewind.
We didn't raise it, so the structure sometimes is right on straight forward. Now I know the down swinging. I took the first Nagle, we got rid of a very quick batter there. He tries it again, but this time Wood. There's a stop the ball center. He just moves further back. I thought he grabbed it. But he gets fast. Second hit batter, so some negative aspects. Unfortunately, out. Two pitches already by Strickland. No 34th pitch. Okay. Down third. Snag. Trap right. Finally, final out. In the first 5. And we got the rest. So those 3 and 2, and so it's got goes into that kind of Bermuda triangle and short right center snag out by right fielders at normal depth. The River Bandits. Well, out to left field. Distance, and we got extension in left. We're going to have us 2 runs. Seager splits to third, and it's everything a home run. There's a skied ball to right, and it is snagged by Lockhart. Remember batting average. There's a curveball that he timed into center field for a base hit. The 4-ball walk. Bases loaded. Here comes Nick Holesa, 3-run home run. Just like that, the Rebs fifth. So line drive, first pitch hitting, loops it out to short right. And it drops and left to right to the ground ball. Team play on the 4-3 as Hood gets it. So down go the Rebels. There's poked out, shallow right. A lot of balls are gone there, but our guys, no speed, back there on snag that one. That's a solid line drive, but right at Bedford Fox. So a happy certain very quick, just what a Rebel. Swing and a miss on the ball way out close. But leaving on not on down. Swing and a miss. Down goes Bo. Down. That one sent into shallow left. Gets down. It was a 2-out single. I don't think there's a pinch hitter. Lockhart in at the plate. Skies one to right field. Very deep. And that one gets over the bullpen. Second home run of the night. Bandits. That one chopped towards second base. So field flat cleanly. 4-3 ends the inning. Pitch away. Sent straight back up the middle from Castellano. How about these two? Chopped that one off the plate. Sent to third base. The high hopper. Out. 22 at 5-3 with second out. Pitch away. Swung on. Big breaking ball. Back to the runner again. Runner goes. Hesitated. And a check swing. Ball bounces out of the glove. Pitch there. Stopped off the plate. Foul territory. So the hitter's foot, I guess. Fired left. Away, stopped at second base. by Frontino, and throw was off. I think Castellano would have beaten down to and that one sent back up the middle. Runner comes home. Pedro in second. They stop towards third base. Castellano moves that one. Sends it over to first. In time. Breaking ball misses high inside. So another walk. Runners on first and second. Evo swings on that one. Chops it to the shortstop. And it sounded like a broken bat. He sends that one towards first. Hunter Hart gets it. Victor runs over and just takes it. Misses high. Jumps the first one back to first. Victor. Out number 3. This is high outside. Pops that one very high. Field it easily. By pitches last time. That one runs inside. Catches the corner. That one chopped over to first. Hunter Hart. Great snag. Has not been. And that one sent into center field. Easily fielded for Seegers. Swung on that one. Popped up towards first base. Stays in fair territory. And E3 retires Machado. Haggerty pitch away. Gets Decker swinging. Seegers sends that one high, deep into center field, back to the wall, and caught at the track.
Gates open. It's 3:30, several events that day. There's a line drive coming in, and he says he caught it. Yeah, it was out of bounds. And there's a swing and a miss. How about Sky, the ball, shallow left. He's going to want it to fall in. Oh, the shortstop goes way back. Grab that. 2 on the way. Foul tip held. Swinging strike out, 2 down. Rebels got 4 out left. Here against Stock. 1-0. That's out to right field. That's easily playable for your F9. Rebels down order. And 3 outs to work with. On the way. Swing and a miss. Appreciate that. That's the first out. And strikeout completed 3-2. So there's a chopper down the this is good as a bunt, so it's going to be a hit. It was like almost halfway home and third. Catcher 1-1 pitch is into the field. Scoring 1, they're going to send another. Just like that, Huntley does come through. What a payoff for putting up a 100 hitting guy. He's now the winning run. Bounced out first.